What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that movement, we've reached out successfully to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I'm speaking by the end of this year, which is coming up fast. I'll be able to tell you, or Q1 of 2026, it'll be 500,000 that we've reached out to. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Ryan Knight. How is the morning vibe for you this morning?
The vibe is relaxing, enjoying going into this holiday time. Always good to see you. For those that might not remember, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network. So we support entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in and help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. I'm also an entrepreneur. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And I would say the weather is not crazy cold, so I think we're going up to like 3 degrees, so we'll be out there still detailing, although it will be Christmas when it's 3, so we'll see.
You're still detailing nights in this weather.
It's above zero, we're good. And we also like detail underground and stuff. But yeah, the holiday, the weekend, we had a small birthday party at a restaurant. So Hibiscus in Ajax, very good food right near what's it called, Westney and Kingston Road area. But yeah, it was good. Got to see some of the fam and their cousins. So it was good.
Looks like there was a haircut recently.
Yeah, I gotta keep up. You know, my son and I went to get our haircuts. I think it was called the O Spot in Ajax as well. So shout out to Omar and his team there.
Excellent. What other things been going on in your world? Are you paying attention to anything media wise or local wise? What's been going on?
I loved the non-release of the Epstein files, the blacked out documents. If this is not ultimate trolling, I don't know what else is. This is like a masterclass in how to troll America and how to troll just the world itself. What the DOJ is doing with these Epstein files. It's just, I like, who are they protecting? It can't only be Trump. Trump, sure, they want to make sure that he's protected, but if he's the reason for all of those blackouts, it has to be something bigger than him. I don't know. That to me is showing they're really trying to hide something now. Like before, it was like, okay, they're trying to delay it, but now it's real sabotage trolling. So I'm curious where this will go.
Well, you're saying about it's just who they're trying to. It is all about him. So
I don't know, man. That thing, something is telling me that it's actually bigger than him. I think he's a plant to get rid of these files, to protect whoever the powers that be are. Because if it was just him, they would have thrown him under the bus already. Like,
no, who's they?
Whoever they is, whoever's in these files, whoever was blacked out. If you're telling me 132 pages are only about him,
the Republican Party controls. No, not even he controls, because remember, all the people bow to him. So they're all serving him. It's not even the Republican Party. They bow to him. So it's all about him. He doesn't care about anybody else.
Yeah. If the truth ever comes out, would love to see.
Like you said, if the truth ever comes out.
Really, they're not budging on this. They don't, whatever is behind those black pages, they do not want coming out ever. And now documents are missing off the website. It's just full cover-up mode now.
Of course. You know, this is, look, I'm just waiting for when the war on Venezuela is going to start to divert from it, you know? And the thing is, they were supposed to release everything from what I understand on Friday. They did not. They said, oh, it's
apparently they broke the law by not releasing everything, and they don't care.
Hold on. 47 break the law?
Right.
That's
And
an
people were like
oxymoron.
shocked.
That's an oxymoron.
People were
47 break
shocked.
the law? That can't
Right.
happen. That can't happen.
Oh
So
man.
already in the house this morning, Fitness IQ Cam says, "Morning, morning. Good morning, Fitness IQ." She goes, "Ryan, new haircut. We got that under wraps." And also she goes, where was our invitation, Dr. Vibe and I? I guess it was a family event, so we weren't invited.
And we actually under I guess reserved the spots. So we were expecting about 20 people and I think 26 showed up.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just core family. Like when we go extended, it could be like we could have filled up that place if we went. So next year, it was proposed that we do a mini, I want to say gala, but a
Oh,
bigger birthday party
word
at
program.
like a community center or something. So be
Yeah.
prepared for that invite. So actually, December 18th next year, 2026. So Fitness IQ, Dr. Vibe, everybody hold that date. I believe it should be a Friday. We're thinking to do a bigger, because my sister and I typically do it together. So shout out to Dominique, my sister, my mini twin. So we combined our birthdays. So we'll probably combine it again for next year. Yeah.
So Fitness IQ has a question for you because I thought the president is normally the puppet for the nation. Really, no, not him. 47 is nobody's puppet of his than his own. When people talk to me about 47, I keep on repeating what David Frum said a little while back now. All 47 cares about is himself and money. That's it.
It's,
That's it.
oh, have you seen the trailer for the Melania documentary?
Don't care.
The $40 million
Don't
documentary.
care. Don't. They're being.
Oh my gosh.
Amazon is giving her $40 million to see. People need to realize about the American. our guests in the back are just shaking. People have to realize 47 is money, himself, and anyone who deals with them, they're grifters. It's the grift government.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk's wife called his own deceased husband a grifter. I would
Well,
say a Freudian slip. She
here's
was.
here's another thing. Now again, I don't watch social media too much, but she's now running her ex-husband's organization, and she brought on Nicki
Minaj. Yeah,
on
yeah.
stage.
The wording is that Nicki Minaj is trying to placate to get a pardon for, I guess, her husband or brother.
Oh yes, the accused, was it sex offender? Yes.
Hey, who else best to get a pardon from than the man blacked out in the Epstein files? This is where people are like, "Yo, we gotta get our what's a grifting or our bribes in now if we've
But
been
that's all the
arrested."
people. Look, okay, here's another interesting oxymoron. So 47 wants to attack Venezuela. Oh, he's all against people bringing drugs. Or, well, he's accusing people of bringing drugs to his company. He, a few weeks ago, pardoned a gentleman who was a long-time drug dealer who was in prison for 40 years
Was
for
it the
drug.
president of Honduras or?
Can't remember,
Okay,
but
but yeah,
he
I heard
pardoned some
about
guy.
that part too.
And I'm just going, it's just grift. It's pay for play. If you've got the money, 47 will do it for you. You've got the money for him. For him, not the government, for him. You have to realize, and when you look at all these things, even there's accusations that all these peace deals, there are side deals for him.
Gotcha.
Right?
It makes sense. Yeah, I
Like over
wouldn't
the
doubt it.
weekend, allegedly, TikTok US was sold.
Okay,
And
I did
there
not
was
see that.
Oracle and two other organizations who were put up the money. Well, one of the organizations, his son-in-law Jared Kushner is part of, and
Wouldn't
also
doubt
there's
it.
Saudi money into it. Hold on, C Nurse K says, "Good morning, C Nurse K says, good morning, all the folks that have an agenda, paid millions to get him elected in order to carry out their own agenda. He is all about himself and the coin, yes, as they say." And also, C Nurse K says,
Yes,
how would he do almost anything to stay out of prison? So it's a no-brainer for him, unfortunately. Yeah.
exactly. He's about that coin. He wants.
That's it. Like, take a look, people. Go online and see how much him and his family have made since he's come back into office.
Yeah, that even just how much they have to pay to use Mar-a-Lago because he stays there so much. That number alone should show people the real grift is on.
Yeah, so it's a grifter, and I think it was really interesting how he said a few weeks ago that high prices, the affordability crisis, is a hoax.
Right. Oh, because his boy Kevin O'Leary is on TV flexing his Rolexes, like, oh, the market's amazing. Why are people complaining about affordability? And then I just would flash to what you talked about, the K economy. Yes, for those that are positioned well, the economy is doing great for them. For everyone else, it's tanking, and they don't care. Like they're literally going on public TV
Well,
and flaunting.
well, it goes back to President Ronald Reagan when he was on. They had this thing called trickle down economics, and the theory of trickle down economics is that when the rich get more, they will spend more, and it will trickle down to the rest of the economy. The rich they're keeping their money and banking it, so they're not spending.
That's
They're
the
not
part that
spending more.
they didn't account for. The rich know how to hide and protect their money. So yes, they'll spend the minimum amount needed in order to execute whoever they have to hire to run their companies. But beyond that, everything else is protected and making money offshore or wherever. They forgot that part about greed and what America was built off of.
Well, goes back to that movie Wall Street. Gordon Gekko, greed is good. Infamous line. Infamous line to that movie. Greed is good.
Yes.
100%. Okay, C Nurse K says he received $100 million from a look, that's pocket
Whoa.
change.
I want to see the numbers on his meme coin, the Trump coin that he created, of how much billions they'll make just by really robbing people with these fake coins that people have put their real hard-earned savings into buying these things. Yeah, they're really following this guy blindly. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
See, a number of people, here's the thing, and now if you ask a number of people who voted for him and saying, with the way you see now, do you regret voting him? Oh yeah, well, I never thought things would be like this. Are you kidding me?
Gotcha.
Do you not follow this guy? Like his history? They thought that Fitness IQ Cam goes, give me that pocket change.
Right.
Good line, Fitness
Yes.
IQ Cam. Yes, give me that pocket change. That is so true. 100%. But no, and the sad thing is, we are so indirectly tied into all of this. It impacts us because the United States is such a big behemoth.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
Let's go to break because, hey, we want to uplift the conversation. I don't know, with our next conversation topic may not be uplifting either. We're just going to be on this side of the border. But C-No-HK says, my point is people don't just donate $100 million with no strings attached. Of course, I agree. He has accepted most bribes. Absolutely. Follow money.
Watch the crown that he got in, was it South Korea? And then the peace medal from FIFA. I don't know how else to describe this.
There's anything that 47 does, people follow the money.
But it's so blatant. It's
so everything is transactional. He has to get something out of it. Everything.
Yeah.
He's probably making more money than America does.
He's trying his best.
There you go.
America's going backwards. He's going forwards.
And morning, Mr. Frequency Event Promotions. Good to have you in the house. All right, we are going to go for a break. And when we come back from break, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. And Emma Ansah's in the house, and we are looking forward to having Emma Ansah back for the last time this year. But don't worry, she'll also be back in the new year.
Nice.
Let's take about a 30-second break. Here we go.
Watch Primetime Saturdays on Saturdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, where Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lalaki try to make sense of the nonsense in American politics and culture.
Coming up on this Friday's show, Dr. Vibe,
Ryan,
Roger Dundas of VibeLax.com,
and Dr. Tachi from Indie Soup Media are going to be talking about
2026 predictions in media, tech, and pop culture. You don't want to miss it.
We'll see you Friday.
All right. So coming up this Friday, the last 2 Fridays, we talked about what Dr. Tachi gave her thoughts, and all of us gave our thoughts of what happened this year, 2025, in media, tech, and pop culture. Now, on the last Friday of this year, we're going to be talking about some predictions of 2026 in media, tech, and pop culture with Ryan, myself, Roger Dundas, and Dr. Tachi will be back. So make sure you check that out. So as always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join our Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or click on that link you see there. I'll be putting it in the comment section to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on. Email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And speaking of Dr. Tachi, Indie Soup TV, independent content creators platform, 28,000 subscribers in in 2 years. In 2 years. And you'll see stuff like this, our content on there, and others. Make sure you check it out. So let's just go to some more comments before we go get our friend up. Fitness, geez, watch them friends. C Nurse K is still on the 47 tip, saying he's apparently selling $60 Bibles. I think they're 47 Bibles. His supporters twist themselves into pretzels trying to rationalize it. Yeah, they do. They do twist themselves. I do not deny that. All right, Ryan, anything else you want to say about 47 before we do a little short video and bring up Emma? You on mute, my friend.
No, I'd rather talk to Emma than talk about him.
Okay, all right. Let's show this video. We're going to bring Emma right up. So here we go.
Canada's Bill C-9, from the current Liberal government, reforms the Judges Act to modernize how judicial misconduct is handled. It introduces clearer screening, review and hearing panels, and sets timelines for decisions. The Canadian Judicial Council can now impose sanctions short of removal, like requiring an apology or extra training, and must publicly report outcomes. Supporters say these changes mean faster, more transparent accountability, fewer expensive inquiries, and stronger public trust. Critics warn the reforms could threaten judicial independence, concentrate too much power in the council, and raise concerns about transparency and appeals.
Well, here she is. Emma Ansah. Seems like it's been an hour since we saw you. What's been going on?
Oh, the news is newsing.
You know what? I think you should trademark that.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
No, I'm being serious. You always say that. I think you should
I
trademark
do,
that.
don't I? I just realized that I say that. I even in my, when I'm posting something, I'll say
The
the news
news
is
is
newsing.
newsing.
That's
Yes.
good. Thank you, Dr. Vibe. It's a very good idea.
Just a suggestion. Just a
Hey,
suggestion.
Ryan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How's the holidays been treating you?
I can't complain at all.
Nice.
Can't complain at all. I still owe you a phone call because every time I get in my vehicle, I think of you.
All
And I'm
right.
like,
Yes.
and you know what? I love that you said you have underground options because we live in a condo and we have like assigned underground spots. So I'm like, yes,
Oh,
Hey, that makes it easier. Yeah, we'll get it
exactly.
done.
oh. So
Yeah.
Emma, you are on the ground, so to speak, not only real human wise and digital wise. What is your sense of the Black environment is at the end of 2025?
Well, I will say it's a mixed bag. I mean, the economy is horrible, right? I mean, the economy is horrible. And so in that regard, they're suffering for sure. And then the pressures of the holidays, I feel like really comes into play. Like people are feeling very pressured. I gotta put food on the table. My kids, if you celebrate Christmas, you gotta think about presents and then, all of the other traditions that come with it, right? And that could be problematic for some people. And then if you're a restaurant owner, for example, and things like that, you can sometimes end up being cash poor at the end and in debt at the end. But that's just my accounting brain going right now. So
Yes.
thinking about all of those things from an economic standpoint. But and then also, I mean, there are people that are happy. We can't discount that at all. And then we've got kids that are missing still, youth that are missing, and we got families that are just grieving and going into the holidays. You're wondering, where's my child and will my child be home? And what does 2026 look like? A lot of people reflect on that. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint one thing to say, how is it? But I would just say it's a mixed bag. I think you've got people that are happy, people that are sad, people that are depressed, people that are thriving, people that aren't. But that's why I always say unity is key for our community.
I want to add another question on that. From your lens, what percentage of the Black environment is thriving versus surviving?
Well, let me see. I'm going to put my accounting brain on again. We have roughly 1.5 million Black Canadians in Canada. I would say maybe the percentage of people that are thriving, I would love to say that it was more than 50, but I don't think so. I would probably say maybe 30%.
Okay.
And then I would say maybe another 35% are kind of like in the middle of, okay, I'm, it could be up or down, depending on what you do for a living and how the economy is going and stuff. And then the balance is on the not so great side, with the prices of grocery and everything and all of those pressures, single moms, even two-parent households, everything's up, crime's up. Taxes are up, everything's up, groceries up, gas is up, everything's up. So, that's how I think I would, if I would have sliced it up in a pie, I think I would probably flow.
All right.
There should be a town hall to talk about what is the definition of thriving. Because,
exactly.
Right? We like people paycheck to paycheck, definitely on a certain day, you feel great, bills are paid, and another day, if check is late, it's like everything is crashed. So those that are really on that fringe,
exactly. And I know a lot of people that have lost their jobs. They lost their jobs.
A lot of people have lost their jobs and not talking about it.
Exactly. Like, I have a friend who lost her job, and it was literally just a couple of weeks ago. And the job market is horrible right now.
Yes.
So, and even with her being bilingual and everything, like she has all of these attributes that would literally people would jump on. But she told me the other day, she sent out 30 resumes and she got 2 calls.
Whoa.
And one of them, we went all the way to signing a contract with a start date. And at the 11th hour, they pulled the rug out from under her and said, we didn't discuss it enough internally. So exactly.
That's nuts. Oh my goodness.
Come on.
And, she's got a townhouse. She's got, all of those bills. So this is a prime example of that percentage I'm talking about that literally are now thinking, what am I going to do? Right. You get your little package, but if you don't have anything coming in and everything's going out, that can be gone in a hot second.
And even worst case,
right?
Yeah, because selling your property now is the worst time because it's not even like, like that worst case scenario where it's like the property you have is like that last resort. Now that's not even a good option anymore to be able to get back on your feet.
Exactly. And then if you are a homeowner, a lot of people are renting their basement out to international students and stuff just to make ends meet. It's
right.
But then there's even curbs on that too, the number of international students. And I'm going to stop because we're going to
that could be a whole other
because the new rent environment, renters
Bill
environment.
C-60.
Yes, that's a whole separate conversation right there. We'll stop. Let's talk about Bill C-9, Emma, because that's what you wanted to chat about. And I believe a lot of people viewing this have no idea about this bill. So this is why we're bringing you on. So give it to us.
Oh, this big, beautiful bill, and I say that with the peak of
No.
sarcasm, okay? Like, it's sarcasm on 10. But, okay, so I'm gonna try to summarize it because it's like a 100-page document. But basically, Bill C-9 is, there are 2 components in particular that I'm wanting to talk about, which is the hate speech and what's considered to be hate speech. And part of Bill C-9 is to prosecute people that are inciting hate. So it could be either a meme that you put up on social media that may incite hate and have like symbols as they refer to, like, I don't know, a swastika symbol or something. Um, and or gestures, like some people, you'll see them doing Nazi salutes and things like that. So that would be considered hate. And then just other things like protests you may do where you're carrying particular flags and anything you may spray paint on something or things like that would be considered hate. The problem with that bill for me is that it's very vague. They're not really being very clear or at least descriptive about what's considered hate, right? So that's the first thing. And then secondly, the stripping of religious freedoms. So for example, if you are somebody that's quoting particular scriptures, you're a pastor and you're on your pulpit, you get your praise and worship on, you're there in church, you got your praise, you got your worship and everything, and then you get to the word and your pastor is speaking about the alphabet soup community, for example, and using particular passages like the book of Leviticus or Deuteronomy or Romans. Literally, your pastor can be taken off in handcuffs because that's considered inciting hate against this community. So the problem I have with that, as somebody who, I don't call myself religious, but I am a believer and I am church going and all of those things. I don't consider the scriptures to be inciting hate. There are so many things in this world that are going on that are inciting hate, and the scriptures isn't it. So for me, I just felt like I wanted to talk about it because I find that to be the peak of hypocrisy. Because when you think about hate that's going on here, and just using us for an example, and the kind of hate and systemic, racial unrest that goes on in this country going back 200 years and forward, um, I'm like, well, people are putting up all kinds of memes that are hateful towards us. And so how did what's considered inciting hate bypass the Black community and we're focusing on just the LGBTQ plus community? Like, where's our protections? So that was one of the things that came into my mind because, listen, that's what I do. My reporting, my whole brand is about our people and our community. So anytime I come across anything, and I read that big, beautiful bill, and I'm always thinking about, well, how does it affect us? Or how does it protect us? So my biggest problem I was having with this bill is you're stripping the protections that already exist within this bill. So they're making amendments to it and stripping those protections. So initially, religious freedom was religious freedom, and you could, be up there preaching using scriptures. You could be a street preacher, and you could be out there at a pride parade, etc. Now, if you're, let's say, at a pride parade and you're a street preacher and you're reading scriptures about that lifestyle, and all somebody has to say is you're being hateful, and you're hauled off in handcuffs. So there are no protections to say, oh no, this is their freedom. Just like you are free to parade down the street with your flags, right? So there's no, there used to be processes in place, right? You had to go in front of a judge and a crown and et cetera, et cetera. All that is being stripped away. So you're just hateful, Ryan, period. And off you go in handcuffs. As far as you can serve up to 2 years in jail.
Because doesn't that give the mob a bit too much power? Because even if a person isn't being hateful, but somebody can accuse, it's like that whole rhetoric of, oh, you can get a person because the process is so loose. By the time that they get out of jail, it's like the damage has been done just for a person
Correct.
accusing.
And they're saying 2 years, it could be 5, it could be 10, and that's the thing,
Right.
it's the free for all, and who decides what, right? So that is why I felt like, oh, this is something to talk about, because a lot of people don't know about this, and they don't know the impact, the full impact
Right.
of what this could mean. And then also, again, I go back to, what about us? What
True.
about us?
And
We have,
people are very loose on Facebook with their posts.
man, and the trolls, like with what I do, if I were to pull up the kind of messages and memes that I get for what I do, and basically it's just the ugly truth. And, people have problems with the folks have problems with, the ugly truth. So I will get called everything but a child of God, all kinds of things. And I've been told to, you better watch yourself and all of that. So my point is that what constitutes hate? Because it's just really not clear. And then how dare you say Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Romans? Like, why do you get to decide that this is hate? Do you see what I mean? How it's so loose and there's no real controls now?
Right.
And then in Quebec, with the Bloc Quebec, they want to ban prayer. So you can't be out, how some Muslims will be out and they pray wherever they want to pray, on the subway, on the streets, whatever. They want to ban public prayer, period. They want to ban head coverings. So people of Muslim, faith, or even there's some people that live in the way of holiness who cover, the Christians who cover their heads and stuff. They want to ban all of that from public places, from schools, from daycares, even the staff, like nobody. And then those who wear face coverings. So again, I'm talking about, okay, so you have targeted a specific group of
Very
people
specific. Yeah.
and saying you can no longer pray, wear face coverings, wear head coverings. Meanwhile, we have these Second Sons, the Diabolon, Nationalist 13 that are marching around Canada carrying remigration signs, mass immigration now, face coverings, preparing for combat, talking about taking back Canada, saying that it's an ethnic cleansing that they're preparing for.
Right.
Face fully covered. So what's up? Do you see where I'm going now? It's
Yes.
ridiculous to me. So I'm up here about this one, okay?
Yes.
We can tell. Fitness IQ Cam says eek. I want to ask, so if this bill gets passed through, which it probably will, because
Oh, it is. It will.
yeah, then who gets to decide what the definition of hate? Who will get that power
The
to
liberal
decide
government.
what hate is?
The liberal government. I mean,
Mm.
it's their baby, and Bloc Quebec is just in lockstep with them. They're basically merging the two, right? And then if the Bloc Quebec is already trying to ban it in
Yes, in
Quebec,
Quebec, yes.
it'll eventually, exactly. So what does that really? So my thing is, you're not keeping the same energy across the board, because like I just said, these groups that are going around here putting signs up and all that other stuff, every time the police are called, they are miraculously don't get there in time. Oh, they all were gone when you've got like hundreds of them. How are you not able to get a hold of them? Niagara, the crime here is like minimal at best. Yet when they were marching around Niagara on the lake, they disappeared before the police arrived. Listen, if I were to call the police now, they would be here so quickly if there was something going on.
Yeah.
So do you see where I'm going with this?
So I want to find out a little bit more about this. Is the Liberals doing this? What is their reasoning to want this bill put through?
Well, they feel like, I'll speak for the Bloc Quebec, because Jean-François Roberge is the Minister of Secularism Laws in Quebec. And his reasoning for it is he feels like the religion in particular, you're not giving people peace. So basically, people don't feel at peace, and they feel like we're basically Bible thumpers. We're slamming this way of life down people's throats, right? So that's the reasoning in that regard. And then as far as the other reasons why, like on Ontario or the rest of Canada, it's really just about controlling people's freedoms. It's like you're literally trying to be a dictator type country. And also, I feel like it's deflection from the real problems that are going on. Real problems that are going on: housing, healthcare, education, all of the problems, immigration, all of the real problems that are happening. I feel like it's a deflection. So as far as why they're doing it, these are the reasons they're giving. Now, the Conservative Party has been fighting back because they feel like it's preposterous what they're doing, right? And some of the Conservative Party are Christians and some aren't. But at the end of the day, you don't even really have to be a Christian or a religious person to see that this makes no logical sense.
I
And
find, so if I have permission to interrupt, I find it very interesting because some would say you think more a conservative party would want this type of bill implemented more than a liberal party. So I find it very interesting because I'm also saying, okay, where there's got to be a backstory or some political behind this, because usually a conservative party would want the control over religious freedoms, things like that. But in this case, it's a liberal party bringing a control mechanism, and the conservatives saying, no, 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 that's not right.
well, the Liberal Party to me reminds me very much of the Republican Party. And I feel like a lot of their talking
Mm.
points and a lot of their kind of their line of thought and stuff is very in line with a kind of a Trump type of thing where he's doing the same kinds of things, right? Like but in a different way where he likes to call himself a Christian. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But I feel like a
Aren't you
lot of
aren't you going to buy one of his Bibles?
oh,
Okay.
the one, yeah, the one where he's put stuff in that kind of like the Messiah complex. No, thank you.
Mm.
I'll do without. But yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
it is interesting though, because you're right. You would think it would be the Conservative Party, but it's not. They are really fighting. You got people like Michelle Rampel Garner. You got people like Andrew Lawton. You got people like Leslyn Lewis, MP Leslyn
Yeah, I
Lewis.
saw when I saw him, I go, whoa.
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of them. A lot of them are like, no, no, no. This is. Some of them have even said, "Hey, I'm a Christian, and I want to be able to go to church and listen to a word from my pastor without him being hauled off." And people are saying, "Well, how will they know? How will they know?" Well, listen, we live in a world of digital now. Most pastors have services on YouTube. They have channels. They're on
Yeah.
Facebook. They're on Instagram. They're on TikTok. They're on Twitch. They're on X. So it's very easy to vet them out and find them. And then if there are some old heads that aren't on that, they'll plant people in the church to just go sit down and see what are they saying, but it's just like, how far down this vortex do you really want to go? It's just crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. The Bible's been here since before humanity. So I mean, who sits there and says, "Huh, I think this is where I'm going to target." When we
Right.
again have
But you mentioned the Liberal Party sounding like the Republicans. Do you find that's why a couple of the conservatives are jumping ship and going over the
yes,
liberals?
100%.
Mm.
100%.
People are trying to figure out what is happening. I think they're one away from a majority. If
Yep.
one more person crosses the floor,
Yep.
that's wild.
What, if anything, have you heard about the Black environments talking about this bill? Because outside of yourself, Emma, I haven't heard anyone who looks like us talking about this.
Ding, 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 ding. I am the only one talking about it. I've not, and that's funny because I did a live stream about it the other day, and a lot of people were saying that in the chat. Like, I mean, the chat was alive, And a lot of people were saying, but I'm not hearing, like, where are the black pastors? Where are the black churches? Why isn't anybody talking? And I don't want to necessarily say that they're not. Maybe they're just choosing not to publicly talk about it. So, and maybe pastors are deciding, you know what, I'm still not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm just not going to talk about it. Maybe they just don't want to draw attention on themselves. But nobody, I've not heard anybody talking about it. I literally have not. And I've actually said the same thing. I'm like, where are y'all at? Am I the only one here concerned about an orange jumpsuit? Like, I'm confused. I know that there are a lot of street preachers that they don't care. They're still going to go out there and do what they're doing because they feel like they were called to do that. But it's just interesting that it's just been radio silence. However, not necessarily surprising because I do find that certain topics and certain things tend to silence the community a lot. And this is just one of them, I guess, but I will open my mouth wide and talk about it. Okay.
We have a great conversation piece from our good friend JJ Mars in Colorado saying, just join. Does your Liberal Party in Canada use the Bible scriptures to justify slavery and white supremacy? You might have already discussed that. Good take.
Well, I've not seen it. I've not seen it because even with, okay, so Mark Miller is the one that's been sounding the alarm on those particular passages, Deuteronomy, Leviticus. The book of Leviticus is the holiness code. So there are a lot of like sort of laws about what not to do, etc. Right. So that's the only time I've heard about anybody using scripture to have a talking point about why things should change, right? As far as people talking about slavery, I've not, no, but I know back in the day they used to do that. The slave masters used to use the scriptures all the time to say, this is why you need to obey what I say, is because it says it in here, but I've not.
I also want to ask, in your research, what's the push behind this bill? Like we said, there are us three here probably say there's more important things for this government to be addressing. Why are they pushing this when there's, like I said, affordable housing crisis, prices going up, food banks increasing, etc.? What is their reasoning for pushing this out now?
I wish I could pin down a Pierre Poilievre or somebody to say why. Why though? Why? Because it just makes no logical sense. I mean, as a journalist, you turn on the news, your phone, I'm getting pinged all day on things that are going on. There's so much going on that, I've never in my life seen so many homeless encampments. And in places where I would never, like Niagara on the lake, there's homeless encampments. Like, it's crazy to me what we're seeing now. And then waiting 8, 12, 13 hours, and you're talking about, what is it, 23,000 people died in, waiting for a specialist or in the ER and et cetera. It's like, are we not looking at this? There's a shortage of doctors, nurses. There's so many other things. I don't understand why this is a thing. I don't. And my thing is, if you're going to make this a thing, you have to be really clear about what exactly falls under these things. And how does that affect the world, or the country? How does that affect the country? How does quoting scripture affect the country? I have never in my whole life seen anybody that goes to church go out and incite hate based on something that was preached in the scriptures. I've never seen a hate crime be committed by a Christian or a Catholic or anything else based on the scriptures, based on what the pastor said, or based on what the street preacher said. If anything, it's the reverse. Street preachers are being attacked. Pastors are being attacked verbally, online, death threats. All of those things are going towards them, but it's not going the other way. So that's why I'm like, where are we going with this and why?
Right.
I feel like it's just deflection. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's no other logical reason in my opinion.
Well, but let's take a look at what is the society's thought on organized religion these days, though, right?
Well, that's slowly declining. We're seeing a lot of churches trying to figure out what to do with. I don't know if the strategy is how to get more people in, but it's more around like what do we do with all this property that we have? Like the amount of money that churches have accumulated and land, and that usually is vacant. Like they only use it once a week, maybe twice a week, or yeah, 2 or 3 times a week. But this building with the land around it is not being fully optimized. So I see a lot of them trying to figure out like what to do now that attendance is declining, and a lot. I mean, TikTok has become other people's religion,
Oh
where
yeah, and
it's like
YouTube and
taking them away.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pastors that are basically just YouTubian pastors. They're
Right,
on there, and
right.
every Sunday or whatever they're doing it, and you can literally you can get more viewers that way than people going and driving to a temple. I
Right.
also feel like a lot of churches are nothing but the biggest racketeers, right? It's become a business where it's like, oh, pay us $500 and sow your seed and you will be prosperous. They're just prosperity speakers. They're really not here to really focus on winning your soul. So that's also a problem too. And a lot of people are starting to become very hip to it. And then on the same time, there are a lot of people that are still falling for it. When you see people like Marvin Sapp and that are like, "Oh, give me $1,200," and it's the day of giving or whatever he called it. And then you have a lineup of people saying, "Here's 1,200, here's my," and it's like, "What?" So you still got people that are falling for it as well.
Yes.
You still got people that are telling you the rapture is going to happen on this specific date, and
Yeah.
people are going and quitting their jobs and giving away their cars and selling their homes and all of this other stuff. And then we're still here.
And a
And
lot of
then
the calculations that they're doing showing more money going into the church than money going out. So the community work that you would expect that they could be doing isn't happening, or at a minimal, based on like in comparison to how much money they're collecting every week.
right. Now, if I was going to look at anything like that, I would do an audit on that when it comes to church, but not the scriptures. Because ideally, there are a lot of churches and that are taking money from their members to lavish their lifestyle, where it should be the reverse, where you go to church to be fed. You go to church if you're having issues and stuff. The church is there to also help you, and that's how it used to be back in the day. Like if you lost your job or your home or your spouse and you're struggling, you're a single mom, usually the church would be, your help.
Go-to place, yeah.
Right. Not anymore. Now it's, oh, pay $300 and come on this retreat and you will be prosperous afterward. So there's a lot of that going on. Now, if it were me, that's what I would be looking at. I wouldn't be focusing on no, your scriptures are inciting hate. Now, if that were true and Christians were going around just, unaliving people and doing the things that we're seeing being done, then that's a different story. But that's just not the case.
All right. If I have permission just to interrupt, JJ Mars has another comment saying there is a long, violent history in the U.S. where many conservative groups who are openly and or quietly preach WS. I'm not going to say what that is because if I say it, YouTube may. So they figure that out. C-Nurse K says, yes, I saw a tiered system of giving. Started at $500. Very sad. Makes some people feel inadequate, embarrassed when they cannot give at that level.
Especially when the pastor shames you. And there are some of those pastors that will be like, you only gave me 200. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
literally, people need to really just exercise wisdom. Like, even if you're not, again, if you don't know the scriptures, you don't know the Bible, whatever, I'm not going to rely on what pastor has to say. I'm not. I'm going in the scriptures, or I'm asking him, show me in the scriptures where it says that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to also be like, I'm not going to listen to a pastor say to me, you will be rich if you give me $200. No, if I take that $200 and put it in an RSP, at least I know where it's going and I can see what's happening. But I'm not giving it to you because you said I'm going to be rich. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, I don't know.
And I want to cycle back to this bill in regards to what does it say about a country or a party that wants to restrict religious freedom?
Literally what that says is that you're just stripping us of our freedoms, period. Because it used to be freedom of speech was a thing, right? And now that we're saying this is hate speech and this is hate speech and this is hate speech, but you're not vague. You're not vague. You're not clear about what exactly constitutes hate speech. Then it literally says to me it's a dictatorship. You're basically saying anything you say is considered hate. But what is? If
You know,
somebody calls us the N-word, is that
yeah,
considered hate speech? If somebody's, we're talking about symbols, but they only refer to one symbol. So if somebody spray paints the N-word across Ryan's business or car, is that considered, a hate symbol? Like, where we need clarity. So all
yeah,
that says to me is do as I say,
it
period.
it sounds what's lacking in this bill is if you're going to just to making full definitions, like a list of definitions, just of one thing, because just in one area, that doesn't make any sense. Because, and again, who is making the decision on what what hate speech is?
Exactly. Mark Miller used to be the Minister of Immigration, and now he's the vice chair. And he's the one that is really pushing for it. But my thing is, he said in the book of Deuteronomy, Romans, and Leviticus, there are clear passages. Which ones are they? Tell me which ones are clear. You know what I'm saying? Once again,
Yeah,
you're not
so
really
vague.
What is his background? Do you know?
You mean as far as his lifestyle?
Yeah, Mark Miller. I'm very curious if whoever he's pushing this, what's making him TikTok, lack of a better term?
Well, I know he's married, but my thing is maybe I always feel like when people are so going hard in the paint on these kinds of things,
That's what I
I
mean.
ask the same question: is maybe your child or you have a family member or what there some sort of close
There's what's the real agenda? That's what I want
correct.
to know.
That's what
What's
I
the
wonder.
real agenda? Because if he's so passionate about it, right? What is the agenda on this, and how was he able to, lack of a better term, sell this to the Liberal Party?
Well, the Liberal Party has always been very, we live in a liberal country. Let's just start there. And the Liberal Party has always been very, very much pro LGBTQ. I mean, even when Trudeau was in office, he would go to all of the pride parades and pride this and pride
True.
that. So this is a very liberal country, and they are very, very much embrace.
Do you think so?
Yes.
You still think so?
Yeah, there was one time. Okay, let's just use Black History Month for an example. We were in a bank over Black History Month, and they had, like a TV. They have the TV monitors or whatever, and they have stuff scrolling across, right? And the only thing that I saw was everything about pride. Stickers on the front of the buildings, grocery stores, everywhere you go, schools, their banners have it there, but we didn't see anything about Black History Month. So that's my whole thing is I feel like it very much is. It very much is. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'll put another comment up here from C-9's case saying, I'm curious to know if the bill mentions enforcement task force, tip line, etc. would take a lot of time and resources and taxpayer money for nonsense.
I didn't see that. And like I said, it's 100 pages, and there's much more to it. I'm just talking about these two components, but yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't.
Then Emma, let me ask then, is this, from your sense and from your lens, is this bill out to just protect one specific group?
Yes. Well, yes, I say that. Initially, I felt like it was protecting two groups, the Jewish community and the LGBTQ plus community. But once they did this amendment and they're talking about scriptures and they're in watching the conservatives and doing research, we're seeing like over 100 schools burned down and synagogues and stuff have been targeted, and they have not been protected. So that's where I was like, oh, wait, it's really only one group so far that I'm seeing that's really protected. And it's the LGBTQ plus. And then I think, well, listen, we've been here since the 1600s and we've gone through it since the 1600s. Yet at no point does anybody feel like we are within our rights to have specific protections as well. So you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel it could be expanded so that now that it's on the books, it can now be used for what we're seeing that might be attacking us?
I would love to think that in a perfect world, but I don't know, because right now I'm only seeing one group of people. And then you're taking the Bible to protect those group of people. And then you're
Isn't that
targeting
interesting?
and then you're targeting another group of people that wear head coverings and face coverings and pray. So and there are Black Muslims, and then there are, Arab Muslims. There's Muslims, of all different ethnicities, right? That practice the Muslim faith. But when I think about Quebec, there's at least 50,000 Black Muslims
Yes.
who are very, very, devout. So they want to be able to pray. And now you want to defund the schools that are religious schools where they teach religion. They want to defund those schools as well. Now, we know the schools need funding. So if you're going to defund the schools, and then you're saying staff members, daycares, you can't bring your child.
Right.
And, some people, their children are wearing head coverings from birth, essentially. You can't wear them in daycares. So to me, it's like you are targeting a specific group of people to protect a specific group of people.
Right.
Wow.
I just think it's completely unfair. And just,
Steiner's case says they should stick to undercover methods of weeding out actual hate-motivated organizations. There is always this need to conflate religion with radicalization, which is ridiculous.
exactly. Diabolon, Second Sons, Nationalist 13. These are like extremist groups that are clearly inciting hate. That's what we need to look at. And just the other day in the news, they were saying that we need to take it seriously. And they're saying that the probability of an attack against not just the Black and brown community, but the Jewish community as well, because that's who they're targeting, is imminent. And it could happen at any time with no warning. So again, we see them marching around Hamilton, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Toronto. They're out west, they're out east, they're everywhere, and it's growing. And even when I cover it, do you guys know how many people of the folks post comments under my report saying, "Where can I join?"
Wow, that's wild.
Where can I join? These guys are my heroes.
Yeah.
That's
my heroes.
And it's growing, and they're recruiting younger and younger people.
Well, but see, this is the perfect example. Everything that happens south of the border only takes a matter of time to start happening here. And there you go. I'm sure the many young people that they're recruiting are young, non-melanated men.
Oh, they are. They're all that. All young and non-melanated. And you're absolutely right about it coming over to north of the border. And I said this the other day when I was doing a report about the Somali community in the United States and how Trump, is saying things like they're garbage and all that. And then now ICE is in the streets, hauling them off. And then people are trying to attack them and all that other stuff. And I'm just saying his words hold weight. Okay. At least 77 million people voted for him. So whether you like him or not, he has a base. And all of those things he says are meat to his base. And then here, there's at least 1 million Americans living here. That's the first thing. And then secondly, there are a lot of people that love Trump in Canada. And they love what he stands for. They love the fact that he's,
they don't say it, but the inside, they're big time.
And he says the quiet things out loud, and it emboldens these people. When have you ever seen these groups walking around like this? They never did it. Right? Yeah. So even if you connect the dots and look at the timeline, it is. It's very heavily influenced. And then on top of that, the amount of immigrants that have been allowed into Canada, when you're talking about between 2022 to now, over 5 million,
Wow.
over 5 million immigrants
From what?
were
From when to when?
between 2022 to 2025. So I'm going to give you some numbers. So
5.
just hang out with me for a sec. Over 5 million immigrants, they like to call them foreign nationals, were granted visitor visas without security checks. Okay. So let's do the math. Over 5 million. We have 30,000 immigrants that are in queue to be deported, that they're actually talking to, as they say. Then we have 32,000 that were deported that they can't find. And then we've got over 600 hardened criminals that are immigrants that were set to be deported that they cannot find. So, and then the biggest group of immigrants that were allowed into this country are from the South Asian community. And as you can see across this country, there's hardly anywhere you go and it's not owned by a South Asian, like literally restaurants, gas stations, you name it. So now you've got these group of people that listen to these talking points from Trump, who says the quiet things out loud that Carney doesn't say, that Trudeau doesn't say. So they're like, F Trudeau. And on, I think it's January, sometime in January, there's going to be this massive rally at Parliament Hill, and it's literally going to be a snowstorm. The Avalanche Avengers are descending on Parliament Hill because they are sick and tired of the Liberal government and Carney and Trudeau and all of that, and the mass immigration, and they're tired of the job, unemployment. Their blonde hair, blue eyed child can't get a job. Their students, can't get jobs. And there's a lot of anger. And so when they listen to Trump saying things like, "You're garbage, get them out of here," and stuff like that, they're like, yeah.
Yeah, they just love
it. It gins them up,
Yes. And my apologies, I do have to hop. I know it's one of our last team meetings till the holidays actually hit. But Emma, always good seeing you.
Nice seeing you.
Right.
I'll be in touch.
With you soon.
Yes. We'll see you Friday, Ryan. Be well.
All right. Later.
Bye.
Yeah,
I know I'm doing a lot of talking because I'm so passionate about this.
No, that's okay. It's okay. No worries. That's all good. It's all good. It's a subject that I think on both sides of the border has to have attention to, but we don't talk a lot about it at all in Canada, coming from a somewhat recent history of diversity. And we're talking about diversity of people here, but we were just talking about diversity of thought and freedom. But here's another question then. Under this bill, what about the Black Fist salute?
That's a good point. Because, it's funny that you say that, because I do know that when the Black Lives Matter thing started, that movement started, there were a lot of Black employees that weren't allowed to wear anything that said that to work.
You're kidding.
Oh yeah, there were a lot.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not surprised. Let's put it that way. And in fact, I know. In fact, wasn't there pushback from the U.S.? Was it Starbucks saying that their employees couldn't wear anything?
Yep.
About
Starbucks. I think there was another fast food restaurant. There was stories of employees that were getting fired or sent home to change. Otherwise, they were fired.
Exactly.
So that's a very interesting, because I've got quite a few garments that have the Black Power fist.
This is what I'm saying.
And so that's very interesting. Is that considered inciting? Hey, this is what I mean about the vagueness, is that we would never know until they're really, and that's why the Conservative Party is saying, oh, you need to come with it. Be more clear about what's considered hate, and what in the scriptures are considered hate, and what can a pastor say that would have him hauled off the pulpit in handcuffs. Like, we're not getting these answers. So what the Conservative Party is asking is for us to write to our MPs, MPPs, and say, no, 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 we're not doing this. I know some pastors have come forward and written letters, but not enough like I thought it would. But anyhow,
Hmm.
interesting, huh?
No, that's one of the first things that came up because of the symbolisms of it. You know,
Yeah.
are
Because
any members of the community that this you feel is are they speaking and saying, hey, this should include more than just us? Are they just happy to get and not caring about other communities?
you mean are the actual people that it'll affect? Again, I'm not really hearing a lot of public outcry. I'm not. I'm expecting organizations, even religious bodies, to be like, no, we're not doing this. I'm expecting the Muslim community to be like, no, you're
But
not.
the thing is, do they even know?
Well, I mean, it's in the news. It's like,
Yeah, but okay, but here's the thing. And again, you and I, yourself and myself, we're independent content creators, and we know more and more people that are getting their news from not traditional media sources anymore. Like watching the news, more and more people are getting their content from digital, actually like this.
yes, but
Right?
and that is really where people are getting their news. So all of these news outlets have TikTok accounts, have YouTube, have, you know what I mean? So even if you're not sitting and watching TV like I call it the terrestrial way, it literally, you could go on TikTok and it's there. Like CTV is on
Probably
TikTok.
more there than mainstream news anyways.
100%.
Right.
100%.
So Fitness IQ Camp says me barely watch the news, to be honest. But
I mean,
well, the question I would say to Fitness is it, do you barely watch the news via traditional, or do you just not watch it, whether it's traditional media or digital media? That would be my question. But go ahead.
yeah, I mean, I get pinged, right? So, and then I have like links to people that are in specific, professions,
Mhm.
like lawyers and stuff, and crime reporters and stuff. And they'll say to me, you know what, hey, did you see this? And then even with my journalists, like my coworkers on the channels I work for, they'll be like, if they see something in Canada, they'll be like, hey, they're all the way in Houston. They'll be like, hey, Emma, did you see this? So we share as well. If we didn't see it ourselves. So there's all kinds of outlets now. I mean, you could go on X and see a whole bunch of news.
Well, yeah, and I know, and I know it's interesting you mentioned that, because a number of people who look like this, they do not go to X because it's too toxic.
It is because they and see now here we go again. Where's the hate? Where's the
Mhm.
policing of hate there? Because you can say whatever you want to say there,
Yes.
so it's like, where do we draw the line? Where's the clear definition of what's considered hate? Where's the clear definition of religious protections against pastors? And then at the end of the day, these days, there's so many pastors that don't even literally, the Bible is just an accessory on the pulpit. It's not even like they're preaching from the scriptures. They just stand up there and start talking about how you can make money. So they're literally, what are they called? They're like the what's that guy's name that was so popular? He was one of
TD
those
Jakes,
uh no, he's not a pastor. He's a like a get rich guru type, Tony something.
Tony Robbins.
That's it. They're like Tony Robbins pastors, where they're just talking about how
Tony
you can,
Robbins pastors. I like
yeah, yeah, how you can sow your seed to get rich.
Tony
So at the
Robbins.
end of the day, I think the only pastors that would probably get hauled off are the ones that are actually quoting scripture, which is not very many anymore. So it's just,
Wow.
there's really no clear, like, I'm following this big time because I'm still waiting for somebody to really explain it to me. I'm about
Mm.
ready to reach out to Leslyn Lewis and say, "Do you wanna do a live stream with me?"
Be interesting.
Mhm.
That would be interesting. Based on our conversation today, how concerned should people, we always are concerned, but how more concerned maybe should we be concerned about our freedoms?
We should be very concerned about our freedoms, especially because I don't feel like we're protected. So we should be very, very concerned about our freedoms, especially if knowing what we have gone through. And I can start listing off the top of my head all of the class action lawsuits and things that have gone on systemically against our people that we continue to fight for. And then you couple that with just not being protected, and not really knowing where we draw the line of what's considered hate. Like if I'm out here saying, look, black people, we've got these people marching around saying that they're going to do an ethnic cleansing, we got to be prepared to defend ourselves. Is that hate? Did I just incite hate? You know what I'm saying? It's like, for even us, you and I as content creators, you and I as
Oh
journalists,
yeah.
what
Oh
does
yeah.
that mean for us? Are we going to literally, how much censorship is
Mm.
there for us? And so if I decide that I want to cover something and I want to bring up a scripture, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for black journalists? What does that mean for black media? Because we go
Mhm.
hard in the paint. Some of us are very, we're very, you know I'm not going to say what we are, but we know we speak our mind, and that's the whole part of being like a YouTuber or a content creator. Is that's how you connect with the audience, is you keep it real, you're raw, you talk, you speak from your heart, you talk like you're talking to your friend, and you talk about things that are going on and you offer your opinion. So where do we draw the line? So I think we have to take it very seriously, and we really need to educate ourselves on what this bill is about. So these days there's so many ways. You can go on YouTube, you can pull up Bill C-9. You'll see so many House of Commons addresses, interventions, all kinds of things. You don't even have to read the 100-page document. So the resources that are available now to educate yourself are there. I encourage everybody to do that and write to your MP, MPP, whoever, for whatever city, province you're in.
This I'm looking forward to seeing where you go with this, or where this takes you next in regards to this, because this is not, yes, we are hosting a conversation based on people who look like us, but this affects everybody in Canada.
Everybody, everybody, everybody.
And then there's
Because it's not only black churches here. They're just, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, and nobody's protected in as far as religious freedoms go. And hate.
have you had any responses from the non-melanated church community about this bill?
No, not yet. But I do know that there are some church pastors that are from the non-melanated community that have written to
Okay.
conservatives.
Okay.
There was one that said they better his, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he basically said they better build a lot more jails, because I will never stop preaching the gospel and I will never stop preaching from the Bible. So they're like, build some more institutions and make them bigger. So, there will be pastors for sure that will adopt the Paul and Silas who was in jail, and it didn't stop them, right? So I'm in jail, I'm going to preach to the people in jail. It's like, you're not going to stop me. And like I said, I don't want to necessarily say that these other religious bodies aren't speaking out. I don't know that they're not. All I know is I just expected more public outcry, because they've put this out in the public, so but maybe their strategy, maybe their strat planning, there will always be a great falling away, as they say, where people will that are in religious bodies and churches will probably conform to whatever the rules are. They'll probably maybe stop preaching from Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Romans. And
Wow.
I have no doubt in my mind that there will be some churches that will do that, because at the end of the day, a lot, like I said, a lot of them don't even use the Bible anyway. So they just don't. You go and you have fun. And then you eat some food and you go home and feel like you got a blessing.
What does all this tell you about the state of our society?
A hot mess. In two words, but literally what it says is that we are really heading down a path where we're just not going to have any rights, any protection. That's where we're going. I mean, that's the society we're going to be living in. And I don't know what has to happen. Like, does it have to be a big catastrophe before people realize to take this serious, or realize that this is not going to work, or realize that this is not the right thing to do? Like, what has to happen? Because all of this is in theory, right? Like, all of these bills and stuff, and this isn't the only bill. There's other bills that are coming down the pike where even your internet can be taken down based on what you may say. So our freedoms of speech. I'm just talking about one bill, but there are, as I said, bills. They'll contact your service provider and tell your service provider to cut your service off based on what you may say. And if your service provider refuses to do it, your service provider will be charged $15 million.
Oh boy.
When I'm telling you these bills, Bill C-8, Bill C-12, I can literally, off the top of my mind, we could talk for 5 hours about all of these bills, but I'm just saying we are heading down a path where we might want to consider another profession, or leave this country altogether and go to Jamaica or Africa. 15. Or I think it's actually 50. It's either 15 or 50. But yes, if the company, like, so you and I, like, I'm with Bell. I don't know who your service provider is, but let's just say you were on a live stream and you said something that they deem.
Who's they? I keep on asking, who's the they?
The liberal government.
Okay.
And I don't know who's going to be tasked to do that policing.
That's what I want to.
Yeah.
That's that rabbit hole.
Do you see what I mean
know
about the vagueness of it?
Yes.
They're not drilling down to say this group of people, or this, organize, or this board, or any of that. It's just all right now. There's a lot of talk and there's a lot of debates, but there's a real push for these bills. So I'm reporting on something and I say something. I don't know what, because again, it's so vague. But let's just say I use the example of like what I just said, which is, hey, Black people, we got to be prepared to defend ourselves, like the Cincinnati brawl, like the Alabama brawl, let us make sure that we're not going to allow these people to come and attack us. Emma Ansah just incited hate. So Bell, I need you to go ahead and take her internet down and her cell phone service down. And if you don't do it, you're going to be charged $15 million. So, of course, they're going to do it. Now, if I turn around and talk about it, then I will be charged for talking about it. So this is where we're going. It's like literally you're muzzled. So that's why I say you got to make sure you got, like, I'm an accountant. Okay. So if I got to just go do taxes and audits and financial planning or whatever, I'm just saying that this is the road we're going down, where people like us will be, stripped of our freedoms of speech.
Fitness IQ Camp goes, how much million? And then she goes, that's wild.
Indeed. And that's Canada right now. And then again, my thing is, what are we paying attention to? What are we prioritizing here?
Well, so Emma, I'll, if I can politely interrupt, it goes back to what we chatted about at the beginning. People are just trying to get through each day. These sort of topics, unfortunately, for a number of people, that doesn't even come into their wheelhouse, into their world, unfortunately, because they'll say look, me just trying to get by today, Emma.
Well, which is why I say people like pastors will just take their Bibles and throw it out of the churches. It's just like, I'm going to just go ahead. Or, content creators who are reporting hard-hitting news may just turn around and decide, I'm going to just do travel and leisure. It's just like, you just got to pivot, right? Because like you said, I got to put food on the table.
You got to eat. You got to
Yeah.
eat. You got to eat. What has been one thing that, while researching this topic, this bill, what are one or two things that you just went, what? You had that like, what? You read what?
Oh, well, for me, it was really when I sat and listened to Mark Miller talking about, I think this should be prosecuted. You should be prosecuted when when you look at the book of Leviticus and Romans and Deuteronomy.
What?
He said clearly passages in those scriptures that incite hate against the LGBTQ plus community. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, and then again, I sat there and I thought to myself, but when has anybody left church and gone and like even came with the mindset of hate? What about the whole body of church? And like I said, I gave examples of the kind of churches where you go, you sing, you praise, you worship, and then you get a word and you leave. And when you think about people that are seasonal goers, like they'll go at Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they put on their Sunday best and they dress up their children, and there's nothing about that experience in general. Like, I'm just talking about a Sunday or a Saturday, depending on what you do, that incite hate, where I'm leaving church and saying, I hate this group of people and I'm going to go and exact my hatred for this. It's just not a thing. So that blew my mind, that was even something to talk about. If we were to sit here and say 50,000 people were targets of hate based on church, then we would have something to talk about. But you don't have any data or any metrics to back up that talk. So that's my thing. That really surprised me. It really surprised me. And then, of course, the other bill talking about taking down your internet and your
Wow.
service with no warning based on what you may say. That again was like, okay, time to pack up and just leave this country and go back to go home to Ghana. That's where I'm from. So it's just like, it's crazy to me. Crazy. But I'm following them to see like which ones. Well, I know Bill C-9 is definitely a thing. Like that's dead. That's literally going to happen. There's no two ways about it. But the other ones that they're getting a lot of pushback on, like the one I just described to you, I'm following to see what really happens ultimately. Yeah.
If you had a chance to be in a room with Mark Miller, what would you tell him?
I would actually ask him to tell me exactly which passages incite hate. And then also I would ask him, show me examples of anybody quoting these particular passages, since you said them, since you said Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and Romans. Show me which passages, and then also show me examples of how these passages caused anybody to exact hate against the LGBTQ plus community. Because what I've seen, and I'll say to him, I can bring you passages, and I can also give you examples of the hate that was exacted towards preachers, and the hate speech and the death threats and all of those other things that have been exacted towards pastors and churchgoers and people who are believers that use their platform to quote scriptures and or replay things that their pastors have said. For example, whenever I cover my pastor or something that he says, I get a lot of hate messages from people. I'm not spreading hate, but I'm getting it for spreading the truth. So I would say to him, show me, because I can show you on the other side. So you show me the hate that you're talking about that's clear. I want you to clarify that. So that's what if I was in a room with him, his because he was questioning it, right? So I would answer his question with a question. And I wish I could.
Maybe you should contact him,
Right?
his office.
I think I'm going to. Mm-hmm.
That's just a suggestion. See if he'll take the call.
Yeah.
Or take a conversation and just
come do a live stream with me, Mark. Let's talk,
Yeah.
chop it up.
Make sure you come back to us and you get what answer you get, if at all.
For sure.
If at all.
Sure.
If at all. As we start winding it down, then for our viewers in Canada, what is your call to action when it comes to Bill C-9?
We need to be very loud. Like, we literally need to be loud. You know, I always say us as a group, we're powerful in general, but in numbers, we're super powerful. So I would call upon all, Black-led organizations, religious organizations, and then just in general, the country. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your nationality is, whatever. We live in this country and we should be free. So I would call upon everybody to reach out, just flood your MPs and MPPs, their inboxes. That's what I would say, because at this point, this might be the only time we can exercise our freedom of speech. So make it count. That's what I would say.
All right.
And then for us, we should use our platforms to educate people on it.
What is upcoming on all things you do media-wise? What's some of the upcoming things we should be looking forward to?
Well, I'm going to be layering in my accounting background, because I'm a CPA, chartered professional accountant. And so I'm going to be layering in, the finance piece so that I can teach people about the financial aspect of some of the decisions that we make. Like, for example, like I said, today I'm going to be talking about Christmas, and I'm going to be talking about, how it affects us financially and how it puts us in debt and how we allow one day to do that. And what does that really look like in the grand scheme of things? So I'm going to break it down in North America. And then also just looking at the things that have targeted our community. Like we have a 71-year-old Black woman who lost 1.7 million off of a crypto scam. She fell for an AI video of either it was Mark Carney or Elon Musk or somebody was talking about do this, and she saw it on Facebook and she clicked on it and she gave some money. So I'm going to cover the story, but I'm also going to educate on what crypto is, how it works, and how you can fall into this trap, that kind of stuff. But she ended up losing $1.7 million, and that was her life savings. And now she's set to lose her home. So, I'm going to be, it's called Economics with M. So there's always going to be a segment, well, not always, but if it sort of fits whatever I'm covering, any chance I can, because I feel like our community lacks education when it comes to those kinds of things. And that's why this happened to the 71-year-old Black woman, because you fell for something on social media. And I'm a big believer in, if it's too good to be true, it's because it's too good to be true. And we live in a world now where there's so many resources. There's so many resources. Back in my day when I was studying to become a CPA, I didn't have I wish there was a Chat GPT. Goodness, what would my life be? But, so now we have so much. So I'm going to be talking more and more about that in the new year with my news coverage. And maybe it's going to be its own separate thing where it's, Economics with M, and it's a separate segment where I'm just going to be just constantly just, teaching about how to manage your finances and how to save and all of the things that my father taught me, because he's an accountant and I got the bug. And, the way he taught us how to save and stuff. I'm going to share those gems because I really, really do feel like I've seen far too many older Black, people, women or men that are getting duped. And it's sad to see. This woman is going to be homeless.
Wow.
We have these boiler rooms all over the country that do
Mhm.
these things, and they really are very good at what even the way they talk to you.
Yeah. Fitness IQ Cam goes, right. And she goes, oh my gosh. And then says, those have been happening for years.
Yep.
And she says, between crypto and other platforms to funnel your money.
Yep. Crypto, Bitcoin, all of those things. And it's like you need to educate yourself about it before you start doing that. So I'll be doing a lot of those kinds of segments as well.
Well, just to add on what you've just shared with us in the last few moments, in general, I think most people have a lack of education when it comes to financial, because it's not taught. It's just in Ontario, not until just the last few years they're teaching anything about that in our schools.
Yep.
And many of our parents had no knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Or if they did, they didn't really teach it.
Yeah.
They just, you just follow. And I think that it's done, this is just my thought, on purpose to keep the system going as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you think about the money that our spending power, which is 1.3 trillion, and we don't have anything to show for it.
I'm gonna twist. I would call it our investment power, not our spending power.
Okay, even that. Yes, we can call it that.
Yeah, because when we spend it, we're just spending it away. We have 1.5 billion of investment power that we're not using to the fullest.
Yes, but why aren't we using it? Because we're spending it elsewhere. So that's the thing, is like we need to understand. That's why I'm even using just one day, December 25th, as an example of how much money we spent on that one and how much pressure we put on ourselves, and then also the dark side of it.
You know what? You may need to make it 2 days, Christmas Day and Boxing Day.
Well, that's true, because then you go shopping, right? So, but the reason why I'm using Christmas Day is because my segment is around just that.
Yep.
So, but just on that particular day, how much we spend. I'm just talking about our community and how much pressures we put on ourselves. And then we're in debt all the way through the spring. And so when you think about that, it's like, wow, this could have gone into an RESP for my kid or an RRSP. And, so these are the kinds of things I want to tap into more. And, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the audience receives it.
There is something called financial trauma.
Yes.
Right?
There is indeed.
That's a whole other conversation piece, but I will just say that, I hear this 1.5 billion. I think it's actually that toll's going to start going down with the amount of people that are losing their jobs. I think it's a nice number, but you know what? I think that amount is reducing quickly, and it is very challenging out there economic wise. It is very challenging. If people who don't look like us are saying that, what do you think it is for us?
Exactly.
Oh, look at this. Fitness IQ Cam has a question for you. Ooh, Emma, I'd like to know how you feel about RSP versus TFSA.
Well, that's a whole other segment. But how do I feel in a soundbite? I think it's really important to educate yourself. And that's one of the things that I'm going to say too, is like, I mean, not everybody has a knack for numbers, which is why you rely on people like financial planners and what have you. But we live in a day where you can literally take an online course just to get the basics, right?
I want to politely interrupt. And this is one of the things I was wanting to remember. Yes, there's so much information, but you got to be careful who you're getting it from.
That's what I'm saying. So people will rely on, how many times do we hear about somebody saying, my accountant has been secretly taking money from me over years and now I'm suing. So that's my whole point, is that's why I'm really happy that I got that bug, because you cannot cheat me. Okay? You cannot cheat me. You cannot scam me. You can't do any of those things because I'm educated in this. So I do feel like there are courses, reputable courses, and I will provide them when I do these segments that you can, for example, CPR firm, www.cpr firm, Coleman CPR is one, very reputable. So there's a few, and I would give those ones that I know personally, people that I actually studied with, and I know that they're on the up and up. So it's just like RRSPs, again, you just got to be careful because people will sell you all kinds of stuff and say, oh, do this, and you end up putting in more, like a lot of squeeze with little juice. So
Well, she also says, I hear so much distaste for RSP because when it's turned into an RRIF.
Yes, that is true. And that's why there's so many moving parts when it comes to RSPs. And if you work for a company, they bring somebody in and they make it look really good. Oh, you put in $100 from your pay and we'll match $100. And then in the grand scheme of things, it's like, if you really don't understand and know what all of this means, you could be watching. It's like, what is it? What did they say? It's like watching paint dry, and you're not really, again, a lot of juice and not a lot of, a lot of squeezing, but not a lot of juice. So it's super important that even if you sit down with your bank or whoever, and they're telling you, here's how it's going to be for you over this many years, make sure that you have some knowledge as well. Because if you go in weak, trust me, they will smell the blood in the water.
But the bank got to make their money too, right?
That's what I was just gonna say. They're not doing it for your well-being.
No, I hope people realize, like it or not, banking is a business. They are in business. They're not. You are a commodity to them.
Even if you were to go and look at that $16.99 or whatever fee they charge you every month, and look at that over 5 years or 10 years, and how much money they just got from your fee, and then think about, okay, because my accounting brain is going now, right? I'm spiraling, and then think about the amount of people that are bankers have bank accounts, and all of those people being charged fees and so on and so forth. You think that they're not about the business of making money?
Fitness IQ Camp says, wow, my grammar in the last few years, I've heard so much distaste for RSP.
That is true. There are a lot of people that do have a distaste for it. Also because even people like pensioners that, at the end of the day, when they're ready to retire, which Canada has extended that to 65 years old, at the end of the day, they're not really, when they are like, okay, I got my RSP, in the grand scheme of things, what they end up giving you in pension, you end up slowly just taking out of your RSPs.
Well, yeah, because people can't live on their pension.
Exactly. So then you see an 80-year-old greeting you at Walmart because they had to get a little job paying them, for 20 hours a week. So at the end of the day, you're not really, I'm telling you, I'm going to be doing so many segments about this. I really am.
Interesting you mentioned that. I have two good associates in the last 2.5 years retired. One of them was actually working for the city of Toronto in their social service department for a good 25 years. Retired, moved to London, and ended up having to get a part-time job.
I know so many. That's why it's super important for us to build our own, because you really cannot rely on pension.
No,
you can't.
No. Especially if you're in your 20s and 30s.
Oh.
It ain't happening.
And you can't be an influencer forever. Your looks will fade. Everything, your body will...
See, so here... I'm not gonna go there. I was gonna go down that right, but we'll save it for. We
don't all have people that will take Shannon Sharp down and then be able to retire from OnlyFans. Okay.
Well, let's put it this way. So here's Roger Dundas. Good morning. That's why I'm not retiring.
So many people don't. They're like, I'm coming out of retirement, you know?
And then got to stay healthy. Now, the challenge is they come out of retirement, things have shifted so
Big time.
much from the time they retired. It's a whole re-education.
Well, that is why you have to remain learned
Yeah.
because you got to move with the current. You have to. Like constantly am, even like the way young people talk. I'm like, okay, I can have a conversation with you. It's just you really have to really understand the tide. I mean, a lot of people are
Got to
against
stay ahead of the curve.
You got to. I always say either you get with it or get left behind. You have.
Well, you know what? It reminds me something many years ago. I had a chance to, there's a gentleman, I used to respect him a lot. He's a little questionable now, named John Maxwell, one of the best leadership book writers of all time, in my opinion. And I had a chance to meet him. I'll shorten the conversation. And I remember him saying to me, he said, Dr. Vibe, either you change or you be changed.
Yes. And my thing is either you go with it or get left behind because everything that comes with you can't go with you, but you have to go with it.
You got to try. Well, even better, try to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Right.
You have to. And like, I mean, so many people are like, oh no, I'm not doing AI. I'm not. Well, at the end of the day, it still requires human intervention. So isn't it better to learn how to use it and learn what it can
They're
do?
not doing AI, but the difficulty is everything they're using is going to incorporate AI. So
100%.
you don't control that piece.
It's
You
like
don't
when the
control
first
that piece.
PC came out.
See, now you see what you've started here. Things are going fire. TJ Performing Arts Academy says systems like RRSP, RESP, TFSA, etc., that are controlled by the Europeans or, quote, not us, unquote, need to be pushed by those who call themselves finance advisors in our community. Just my opinion. Good take.
And I know some really good, I mean, I do financial planning, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So I won't do something unless I'm 100% passionate about it. So I know a lot of really great Black financial planners.
We have a gentleman that comes on here every month, Wayne Harris.
And
Very good.
I know Wayne. And then there's also Dean Martin. He's amazing. I know a few. Ricardo, I can't think of his last name, but he's great too. So
Pray.
I know a few, and that's why I'm saying when I do my TED Talk
But
or whatever we want to call it, I will put these people.
here,
I may even bring them on and do an interview.
here's the challenge, and Wayne Harris says this all the time. When people come in front of them, they don't take. A lot of them will go with those who are non-melanated than their own. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, and it is a sad reality. It is. Now I will say this because to me there's good and bad in every race. So there'll be some Black people that will not serve me in the way that I want or what I expect. If I'm looking for a Black attorney or a Black doctor or whatever, you're still going to get some people that are just not in it for your goodwill or your what's the word? Your
Roger Dundas. I'll get to your comment in a moment, Roger. Continue. Sorry, Emma.
Yeah, sorry, for your well-being, so you do have to, you can't just say, well, it's Black, so that's it. So I agree. I'm not going to say that those people that choose to go somewhere else, it's their right. I just think that we have to be careful about who we choose regardless. And we have to make sure we have some level of knowledge.
I'll add a take to that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Before you invest, investigate.
There you go. You have to. And and again, back in my day, back in my father's day, my father was an accountant for Ghana Airways. And when we got to a certain age, we started working, and I'm about to date myself. He would take us to the bank and we get our bank book, open the account for us, we get our bank book. And then when we got our paycheck, we would give it to him and he'll give us a portion for ourselves. And then what he was secretly doing was matching whatever we put in our bank account. And so then ultimately in a year, he would say, this is what you saved. This is what I matched. And here's how you can continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? So he taught us from young how to manage and save. But like you said, not a lot of Black households are educated like that and do that. My father was an accountant. So, but there are people even that are accountants that still don't cook their books right. So, it's really about you also investing in yourself and having some level of understanding. Just like if you went to a doctor, I'm
Same
not
thing.
it's same thing. Like if I go to a doctor and I say, "Look, I've been having this abdomen pain," and he just says, "Here, take this." I'm not going to that doctor because I'm going to be like, "Well, hang on. Did you even touch my stomach? Are you sending me for some scans?" Like I literally will ask questions and get a clear understanding. And then I'll go on chat and be like, "Hey, chat, what do you think this is? And what test should I just use the resources we have?" I didn't have that luxury. You got to sit and study in a library somewhere.
So here we go. So Emma Ansah has now created her own segment because people are flying in like crazy right now. So Fitness IQ Cam says to Roger Dundas, she can't retire. Well, so Ray McMillan, the Godfather. Good to have you here, Ray, from Fort Lauderdale. Let me just pull it up here. Yes, he has a question. Great conversation. So what do you suggest an alternative retirement vehicle is in lieu of RSPs?
You could do like a building block GIC where you're just saving and you don't have to deal with those added pressures of, if you decide for an emergency you need to take some money out, you get a 10% your
Yeah.
tax 10%, and then in the end that goes on to your taxes when you go to file. It's considered income and all those other things. Building block GICs are generally safe. Something like that I would do if I wasn't going to do an RSP. I mean, I have a building block. I don't do RSP. I don't. And I have my reasons, and stay tuned. I'll be talking about it.
Okay. Fitness IQ Cam says to TJ Performing Arts Academy, I normally do. Tim Frey says, yeah, so it's the same thing, same account. So there we go. And Fitness IQ Cam says, however, in the last few years, I know based on my episodes, I know a few people who have opened up an account. That's the first step is educating.
Yep.
And Roger Dundas says, that's what I do for my kids, matching, but they just want to spend their money, not save.
You see, and that's the thing. My father didn't tell us. And even though we had our little bank book, he was the one that was going, like I would get paid because I started working when I was 16 and I thought I was a big girl. So I would get paid and then I would go give him my paycheck and then he would give me money. And then he would go to the bank and he would put it in for us. So I didn't even see it until a year later. It's like, what? I have this much money. And then we would be so happy and we would feel, what's the word? Encouraged to keep going that way, So we learned the value of saving and we learned the value of the dollar and how to stretch it with just a little bit of your paycheck and all of those kinds of things. But again, there are a lot of Black families that just don't do it. They don't, and they're not educated. And that's why I want to start educating people on just the basics. The basics, using a modest formula.
Fitness IQ Cam says, and when I say an account, start off with a TFSA.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not a bad choice either.
Ray McMillan, the Godfather, says, thanks. RSPs are designed for the top 10%, 20% of the population, not those spending 100% of their income.
Exactly. The ones living paycheck to paycheck. And, I remember back in the day when I was working I call the corporate plantation, and I was doing the matching of the RSP and stuff. And, it was like, I said, take 100 from my paycheck. And then they would put 100 in. But then there were all these restrictions. It's like, well, you can't take anything out unless you die. Okay, well, if I die, I'm not going to be here to enjoy my money.
And it's
or you quit or you leave the company.
Yeah. Yep. And Fitness IQ says, no, Roger Dundas, I learned to save the money my folks gave me and still spend theirs. There we go. Tim Frey says, Roger, I don't want to assume that you don't have a trust for your family, but that is how you control your own programs for your beneficiaries, kids, to build businesses and save.
Yep.
And Fitness IQ Cam says, CS millennials know the loopholes. And
Well,
Roger
I'll
said,
tell you what, with my savings, I was able to get my first car, and it was a Chrysler Neon. And I was
"Oh,
very proud of myself. I was like, look at that, you know. So I think it's really important for us as fathers, especially the ones in our generation, because generations before us really were not educated, but we have the tools, the resources to do so that our kids do the same thing. It's very simple. Give me some of your paycheck. Here's yours for the week until you get paid again. Go to the bank. They have no idea. Just do it. And then show them the value.
So Roger says, I take their money, invest in TFSAs. I encourage them to spend 20% on anything they want.
I love it.
And Roger's a trained accountant also.
Oh, there
So,
you go.
so Roger says to Tim, everything is legally secured for our kids.
Love it. Oh, that's really beautiful. I love that.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Our generation, our demographic, I think, feel like we're really starting to be more educated than our parents and our parents' were.
The only challenge about those is that we have to change our thinking from what they either didn't give us,
Yes.
did not share with us, and many still haven't got there yet.
That is where we have to be willing
That's not saying all, but many
to open
didn't.
our minds to learning
Right?
and using the resources we have now, because there's no reason why we should perpetuate that same pattern, right?
So here we go. Fitness IQ Cam says, "Ooh, if you have more information with trust, I'm still looking to talk about that." If you
Ooh,
do
that
think-
could be a whole other segment.
And then Ray says, because they will always be making withdrawals, being taxed and lose all the compounding, diversity is key based on each individual's understanding, goals, and family structure. The Godfather speaks.
That is true. That is true. And the Godfather is very educated.
Oh, don't mess
So
with the Godfather.
we need more of
Don't
the
mess with the
Godfathers.
Godfather.
Yeah,
Don't mess with Ray. Ray is the real deal.
I
I
see
love
that.
it, Emma. You created your own segment today.
Imagine that. We went from Bill C-9 to finances.
Oh, well, the future of the Black environment is key. Roger's going to get mad at me if I don't put up the comment. He's about how some of us go to others, and he says, some of us think that their ice is colder.
Well, yeah, there's that. I don't know why there's a real general lack of trust, I find.
It's
Um
hereditary.
and
It's gone over thousands, hundreds and hundreds of years.
I agree, but my thing is, why aren't you willing to have the same sort of openness for your people that you would for somebody that's not? Like, why are you so quick to go in blind with blind faith? Because, like he said, the ice or the rice or the snow citizen. The snow citizen. Why do you feel like the snow citizen is the avalanche avenger and can, make life better for you, and you're not willing to trust one that looks like you? I know for me, one of the things I've learned over time is Black is always top of mind for me. Always.
As
But
someone says,
again, if
B1,
it's not working for me, I will.
B1,
Yeah, B1.
B1.
Always. B1
B1.
always.
All right, if you want to try to keep up with Emma, that's your call to action. Try to keep up with Emma, not only in 2025, but in 2026. There's information, website, email, the Daily Scrum News. Also, she's on the Instagram and on many different platforms on YouTube. She's with us the fourth Monday of each month. And thank you, Emma, for making the time to do this year. We appreciate that.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
And Godfather speaks again. The distrust is not only within the Black environment. I have Punjabi and other ethnic clients who don't trust their own either. That is a good point.
And rightfully so sometimes.
Yes.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Listen, at the end of the day, you've got to pay yourself first. You got to be invested in yourself.
Well, again, before you investigate. And that's just not in money. That's in relationships too.
Oh, exactly. You have to love yourself and love yourself enough to make sure that you're taking care of you first. And that involves educating yourself, etc. I won't even go to a mechanic without knowing something. Like, you're not going to dupe me. So I stay learned, and that's the most important thing.
Well, here's another segment for you, Ms. Emma. In what areas, or whether it's personal or non-personal, I was going to say Black women first, but Blacks feel insecure?
Ooh.
We could do that together.
Yeah, I think, that's a good one.
It just came up in my mind. It's not economics. I also think about, if you're a Black lady, you're going to a mechanic. I have countless stories of Black women who have been thief at mechanics.
Oh, no doubt. As soon as they see you pull up, they're like,
right?
Yeah.
But I think there's maybe a series we could do together about what areas do Blacks feel insecure or not confident.
Yeah, finances for sure, those kinds of things. Body, like their physical looks and stuff, their hair, their natural hair. I can go on and on.
Yeah, and suggestions on how they can U-turn that.
That's our next one.
Okay.
That's our next one. Okay. That's our first one in the new year.
Okay. Well, okay.
Stay tuned, folks.
I just threw it out there.
I love it.
All right. That's so it. Other places you can get a hold of Emma also for the comments are still coming on here. Oh, so Tim Frey says, we don't know who to trust because of that.
Because of what?
That's what Tim, please complete that, because when you make a comment, I may not always be able to add on to relate it to what I'm saying at that time. So you have to give full comment, but no problem. I know Tim will do that before we leave. So always subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Please like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or click on the link that's on the screen, but it's on the comments section on most of the platforms you're watching this live or replay. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, please feel free to email me dr.at the drvibeshow.com. So a few other things. I'll get to there's some final comments. I'll get to them. Don't worry. I'm not forgetting you. If you want to get a hold of Ryan, it's RyanKnight.com. Ryan Oneil Knight, Ryan Oneil Knight.com. And that's Knight with a K-N, not an N. If you want to get in touch with myself, you can go to the link taplink.cc/the Dr. Vibe Show. And you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and Afro Caribbean Business Network, and on YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. Okay, we got two last comments here. You're saying see the comment before that. Okay. So that's what you're saying. We don't trust our own. Got it. And then Fitness IQ Cam. He's speaking like me. I know what you mean by that. All right. That is good. So everybody, hope you're around, because Friday we got Dr. Tachi back, or as I like to say, Dr. Tache back, and we'll be joined by Ryan, Roger Dundas, and myself, and we're going to talk about some predictions in the areas of media, tech, and pop culture in 2026. So hope you can catch that. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And always, God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith while good. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.